my name is Ziyanda, a girl from a small town in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa called Mpangeni. I am the third of four children. I enjoy reading, I enjoy writing, and putting that together, I enjoy writing reviews about books that I've read. I also enjoy eating out and, of course, traveling. So I have had a very interesting and different career journey. I graduated with an undergrad in marketing and business finance from Wits University, which led me to move into the marketing industry. I initially worked in a tobacco company where I worked in brand and sales, and then I moved on to a snacks company where I covered brands such as Baker's, Willard's, and Five Roses. After realizing that marketing is not something I wanted to do long term, I decided to pivot my career into investment banking. And so I started that journey at a bank called HSBC, which is headquartered in the United Kingdom. I worked in the Johannesburg office covering different clients in the African continent. While at HSBC, I was able to also work in London, which gave me a completely different perspective in terms of the opportunities available in investment banking. I then moved on to another bank, which is my most recent former employer, where I work covering Africa as well. And I also got an opportunity to work in the London office there, which was quite exciting because that was one of the reasons why I wanted to move from marketing into investment banking. I wanted more global exposure and opportunities to work abroad. I am currently working in Wall Street, which has always been a dream of mine. I work for a major US investment bank and in a division called securitization, which is quite big in the US. It's been an interesting journey, very intense environment, but exactly where I wanted to be considering all the steps that I took since pivoting into investment banking. My day-to-day job is different based on whether I am working on a transaction or not. So overall though, it is a client-facing role, which means a lot of interacting with clients, being comfortable talking to clients, helping them raise financing for different needs in their company. It also involves being social because you have to be able to interact with clients on a social level to build relationships. So that would either be client lunches or client dinners or broader client events. We also have the technical part of it where you have to know how to structure a certain deal that speaks to what the client's status is and what they require. We help clients with engaging with rating agencies so that they can get a credit rating. So that's helping them position themselves in a favorable manner to get a good credit rating. And lastly, we also connect clients to investors who are the ones that ultimately provide the financing that we facilitate. What I love about my job is just the daily challenges that I face, the learning that comes with it. You are able to draw so much knowledge from people that you work with within the bank and on the client side. And because you also cover so many different industries, you are able to broaden your knowledge in terms of like understanding different industries. And that also comes in very handy when you meet new people because your general knowledge is so broad, you are able to hold a conversation with a wide range of people. It's also quite intense, especially working in New York, which is the financial hub of the world as we know it. So it just makes you a bit more alert in terms of identifying opportunities, growing as a person, and also just traveling. We haven't obviously done much traveling right now because we're still coming out of the pandemic era, but that's also a huge plus in the kind of role that I'm in, that you get to travel to new cities, learn about new communities and countries, and that just helps you to be a more rounded person outside of just being an employee. There are a lot of challenges that come with just the job alone. And then I think the added pressure for me is the fact that I moved from South Africa to New York, which is highly fast paced and competitive. So I've been having challenges with just keeping my anxiety levels down because, on one side, I am learning something completely new in the role that I'm in. On the other side, I'm also trying to adjust to a new culture in a country that's very different to what I am accustomed to. But every day, you just take it a step at a time, take it a day at a time, and that's the only way not to be overwhelmed by the challenges that always are constantly trying to overpower you. So, my career path, as I had mentioned, has been very different. So, when I get asked, is this something that I would do differently? My first answer is always I would have changed my mind sooner because I knew that I wanted to move into investment banking probably a year into working in marketing, but I delayed it because I thought that things would get better. I thought that I needed more time to kind of understand where I fit and my passions. But when I did ultimately decide that I want to cross over, I had already spent 3 years in marketing, and that's quite a long time. So if I had to do things differently, it would have probably been to act on my decision sooner. But everything has its time and everything happens for a reason. And I think that the maturity that I came with, having previously worked and starting in a new industry, was also a big advantage in how I have progressed in my career. So, when I was in high school, investment banking was not an option for me because I simply did not know that the career existed. So, my advice to anyone who's interested in pursuing this career when you already know from probably as early as grade 8 is make sure that your financial side is strong. Focus on your financial subjects. Do take maths, do try to take science, because those will ultimately help you in terms of how you think, and they will differentiate you when you get to university. And when you do get to university, also start thinking about the type of person you want to be. So don't just chase a career, understand what you are passionate about and understand what you kind of want to start off with. But also know that you can always change your mind. I think I am a clear case of that. And a lot of people see it as being undecisive, but I say it's actually very decisive to take a decision and change your life and also forfeit what could have been something comfortable and normal, or the normal path that people take. Yeah, always time to change your mind and start over. You know, what is very important is researching the kind of career that you want to go into. And I think nowadays there's so much information online. There is YouTube that can kind of give you exposure to careers that when I was in high school, I would have never known existed. It's also important to understand what you are passionate about and what your skills are, and what you can use out of those two things to get you into the career that you want to be. Reach out to people as well, whether it will be through family members or through school, and just ask them questions. Ask them what you can do to get to where they are, if where they are is where you want to be.